The regular session of the Madison County Board of Education will now come to order. Carrie, will you lead us in prayer, please?
Yes, ma'am. Lord, we come to you tonight thankful for all of our blessings and everything you've always given us, Lord. And just the heart, the soul, and everything that we have belongs to you and has come from you, Lord. Lord, help us to remember Mount Zion Church, the students, Lord, that were on the trip, and the parents and grandparents, Lord, everyone that's hurting. Lord, help us to heal, help us to love, and help us to understand. And Lord, we come to you now just to make wise decisions, the best decisions possible, Lord, just to glorify you and bring these kids to the direction that needs to be done, just to serve you in all we do. In your holy name, amen.
Thank you, Carrie.
I recommend approval of the agenda for June 12, 2017.
Second. I guess it's going to be a tag team tonight.
Yes, it is. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, if not, we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All in favor.
All right, now, just wanted to discuss a bit with that, the Mount Zion kind of tragedy there. Our schools really kind of pulled together to support that, along with House of the Harvest, and they actually provided a dinner there in Sherry. I think you were able to go. I didn't know if you want to kind of share.
Yeah, it was great. We had a lot of support, and the people there really needed that event to come back together because they all got separated, after the accident. So that was really good of all this, the teachers and the staff. It was really appreciated.
Yeah.
And there was so much that I think there was plenty today for the funeral, with the food for the funeral as well. So.
That's right. And we still have some students in Atlanta,
Yes.
too, and so remembering those, too. So it was a very tough situation. It was a lot of our kids were going on that mission trip, it was a big deal leading up to that. So it's definitely shaking the community and our school community, too. So appreciate you guys remembering them in your prayers with that. We got a couple presentations. Robin Lakey from the state examiners is going to talk a little bit about our audit process that we went through. So Robin, if you want to take the mic.
Okay. All right. In accordance with Act 2006-196 of the Acts of Alabama, which is commonly referred to as the School Fiscal Accountability Act, I'm here to present the Madison County Board of Education Audit Report for the fiscal year October 1st, 2015 through September 30th, 2016. Our actual report may be found on the examiner's website, which is www.examiners.alabama.gov, and every board member should have received an electronic copy of the audit report, or if you don't have an email, we will send you one by mail. It was conducted in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and governmental auditing standards for the purpose of rendering an opinion on the board's financial statements and to determine whether the board complied in all material respects with applicable laws and regulations. We also audited the board's federal financial assistance in accordance with the uniform guidance. We issued an unmodified opinion on the board's financial statements, which is the best opinion you can get. It says that your financial statements are fairly presented and can be relied upon. And we also noted no matters that indicated that the board had not complied in all material respects with applicable laws and regulations. We also issued an unmodified opinion on the board's major federal financial assistance programs for the audit period, which were the Special Education Cluster and the Preschool Development Grant through the Office of School Readiness. So that's all I have. It basically says y'all did a great job. And if y'all have any questions?
I guess we all kind of have questions about the Office of School Readiness and what will be forthcoming with that. You have any idea?
Well, that's a new program that we have not ever audited,
Okay.
so it's it's all in the future. We're all not sure. So.
Right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Any
Robin.
more questions?
All right. Next up, we have a presentation from the Schneider Group. They've been partners with us for quite a while now, and with some new board members and things, just kind of give an update on where we've come. So if you guys want to all take the stage, or
All right.
one at a time.
Todd used to come by himself, now he's got a,
Now I got
got a
the
whole
crew.
entourage.
I don't think we'll all fit behind the
You didn't want to be outnumbered by the board, is that what?
We'll just kind of stand and sit. First of all, it's wonderful to be back here before y'all. We so much enjoyed putting the program together for you over the years and designing it and constructing it, implementing it, and now we're working hand in hand with y'all to make sure that you're achieving the things that we want to achieve and that the improvements that we made are meeting your expectations. And so I'll just go through and introduce everybody here. Oh yeah, we can pull the PowerPoint there. So I'm Todd Smith from Schneider Electric, and I'm the sales team leader for the Southeast. And I've been working in Alabama, K-12 education, working on 13 years now. Work with a lot of different districts across the state, a lot of your sister districts around the area, and we're very excited to have you all as a partner. And I kind of lead what you would call the business development, and then kind of take it through the engineering side with our engineers, and then we have our construction team, our performance assurance team. But here with me, I have Chris Reynolds. Go ahead.
Chris Reynolds, I'm our Southeast Operations Manager, but for this project, I was actually the lead project developer on this, and I've been with Schneider for 11 years and been working here in Alabama for 8.5 years developing projects, managing the engineering and construction teams.
John Rios, I'm the Southeast Performance Assurance Team lead here, working with Schneider for about 12 years now. Lived here in the Southeast, worked specifically out here for the last 4 years. Lead the partnership between our clientele and Schneider.
Corey Weimer, I work under John Rios in the Performance Assurance side, help make sure that everything's running the way that needs to be running for after the construction side.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. So today we had a couple things we wanted to cover. First, just for those that aren't aware of who we are, we wanted to just explain a little bit about who we are, talk a little bit about the overview of the program. What does it look like for Madison County Schools? Some of your district challenges, what you dealt with before we implemented the program. Talk about our partnership, and then our solution, and then talk about the next steps of what we're doing for you guys on a day-to-day basis. So, any questions before I start? Okay. Well, just so you guys can see who we are, over the last 12 years, this is a list of clients that we've worked with across the state. We've been 12 years sponsors of school boards, Superintendents Association, Plant Managers Association, and School Business Officials Association. So we support all of the endeavors in K-12 education very heavily. And you'll see of that list, you have a good grouping of North Alabama districts on there. A lot of your neighbors are our clients, and I know that's a little small, but in average, we usually save the district anywhere from 15 all the way up to 45% of their operational cost savings. Here, you did have quite a bit of opportunity, and so we're reducing your cost by 40% from where you were. And we'll talk a little bit about that on further slides. We also do work with cities and counties, and we also work with state agencies across the state. So a little bit about the program. It's utilized to create a revenue source to help you fund infrastructure. So a lot of districts across the state that we deal with have a pretty big deferred maintenance budget. A lot of districts have reached their kind of bonded indebtedness. They may be dealing with new construction, but they don't have a huge pool of money for renovation, repair work, general maintenance, preventative maintenance. And so this is a way to kind of attack those things while creating that revenue stream. And we want to resolve the critical facility issues that we deal with. So every district that we partner with, we take a look at their capital plan, and we see if there's items on that capital plan that we might be able to systematically tackle through this program. And the goal is to knock as many things off that capital plan as possible. So throughout the partnership of this process, we work with Gary, and we work with Troy, and we work with Karen, and everybody else that was here to put together the package that was going to kind of dive the deepest into your deferred maintenance needs. And of course, we want to enhance the learning environment. Everything we do wants to make the environment for learning and teaching better. So whether that's new lighting, more comfortable schools, more reliable schools, safer schools. Those are all parts of things that we want to really try and strive for. And that's one of the reasons that John and Corey's group is so important, because over the years, if there's issues that come up or issues that arise, these guys are our first line of defense. They're the ones that dive in and figure out what's wrong with the issues. They help Gary and Troy and the operations staff really figure out how to best operate the district. And then we align that financially with Karen's group and make sure that we're achieving what we need to achieve and saving as much money as we possibly can for the district, and doing in that in the most effective way. So the partnership is kind of, it really involves both the design, the construction, and the post-project support. And we'd like to think that, we try to strive for greatness in all of those areas, and we feel, very comfortable that this partnership is going in the right direction. So what does it look like for y'all? Before we came in, you had what we would call very high utility spending. I think y'all were in the top 5 districts in the state as far as utility usage. Part of it was because of your size. Part of it was just because of the way that y'all had a lot of deferred payments and opportunities to do things in a more effective way. And so you spent almost $4.7 million when you added up electricity, natural gas, and water. Over $2 a square foot. To give you kind of an example of what a target number should be, an efficient district is usually running somewhere $1.30, $1.20. Sometimes we run into even below $1 a square foot. So $2 a square foot was pretty high for sure. You had some outdated equipment and technologies. You had old lighting in a lot of the schools, hallways, gymnasiums, exterior lighting. Was not only outdated, but in some circumstances, you had a lot of burned out bulbs, broken, bulbs, equipment. So there's safety things that obviously can be addressed through this program. The lack of a centralized control system. You had controls at a lot of schools, but some schools you didn't, and other schools needed controls expansion to be able to automate your schools more effectively, to run them more efficiently, and to give your operations group a better indication of how the buildings were operating on a real-time basis. And then you had operational inefficiencies because of some of those building automation issues we talked about with various things, talking to each other and controlling each other. And then funding limitations, finally. There just wasn't a lot of money to do deferred maintenance opportunity, challenges. I think we had a good 5 to 10 projects out there that needed to be done. A lot of it was HVAC related, a lot of it was lighting related. The money wasn't there. You guys were kind of tapped out at your bonded reserve. I think when we went through this, you were even going through the BRAC program and just kind of struggling to even match the money for the BRAC program. So this was seen as a big opportunity to make those necessary improvements and kind of get ahead of what we call the reactive versus proactive cycle. Most public entities always live in that reactive cycle, don't fix it till it breaks. Well, if you can have the chance to get ahead and actually start doing some preventative maintenance, then the district operations staff can kind of get ahead of the game. So the comprehensive solution, Chris, that he'll come up here with me. Chris helped me to put this together, and we kind of joked about it. We think we probably had over 100 people work on this program. We're just kind of the people that always come and talk about it, but whether it's us two or whether it's all of our engineering staff or construction management staff, we split it into 2 phases. And what you'll see is we generated savings of just under $1.5 million, a 40% reduction in operational costs. And I was just going to tell you guys about a couple of the funding opportunities before I let Chris just talk a little bit about the scope. But there was an opportunity through TVA for some rebate programs that we helped apply for. There was also a 0% ADECA loan program that was available at the time. Right now it's currently tapped out, so you guys took advantage of that at the right time and got that 0% money. It's not open anymore for other districts to use. And then the $14 million in qualified energy conservation funds was the real kind of turning point. That was allocated to the state of Alabama under part of the Capital Recovery Act, the ARA program that was released. The state of Alabama got $46 million in QECB funds, qualified energy conservation funds. So for y'all to get $14 million of that 46 was pretty incredible. About 10 to 12 million of it was allocated directly to the largest governments out there, so your Birmingham, Huntsville, through Jefferson County, and those folks. But what we actually did was we worked with Karen and we worked with Dr. Copeland and the board, and we went and we knocked on doors and we tried to get as many of those local governments to kind of give up their allocations. I want to say the City of Montgomery and Shelby County and several of these entities actually gave up their allocations because they weren't going to use them. And we took those allocations and got them for you. And what that meant was we were able to get money at about 1.1% interest rate or 1.5% interest rate, which is extremely attractive, and that's below inflation. So that made the project that much more powerful. That was a huge collaborative effort with the finance office and then with Carrie's group, kind of working through what scope we would be able to bid into the project and how we would tackle these things. So it was just a monumental effort. Chris, if you'll just kind of talk about how large of an undertaking this was.
Yes, so we actually, the project was broken up into 2 phases. The first phase was 11 schools with a primary focus on 3 of them with some major mechanical replacements. We wrote Owens Crossroads being 2 of them where we did complete gut and renovation of new HVAC systems for those schools. We worked with Troy and their team, and actually we were able to get a comprehensive building automation system put into the project to actually pick up and provide the transparency and integrate that with advanced metering, so the kind of real-time information of how you're doing on performance and the savings side of it. In addition, I'm not going to say every light bulb in the district kind of got addressed, but it's pretty close to it in the sense that our team did a comprehensive lighting retrofit renovation project throughout those sites. We integrated a district-wide IT management software that allows to be able to turn computers on and off and schedule that. And we're also looking at water renovation projects to be able to reduce water usage. Phase 1 was definitely a very fast phase in the sense that we were aiming for summer installation to be able to get those major mechanical projects done from the end of school all the way to the beginning of school, so our team was able to mobilize and basically get those major renovations done within 2 months. And then after that, we started on phase 2 where we picked up the remaining campuses. Took the same approach. We had some additional mechanical projects that were included in that, as well as the other scopes of work for comprehensiveness throughout the district.
Yeah, I think this is the list of the phase 1 facilities. And again, in addition to the funding, the design efforts and the working with the operations team, I think we designed this in 2 months, which to put together, I think it was a $16 million project in 2 months. That's moving mountains. So we were very excited to be able to deliver that back and implement some of those critical pieces that y'all needed. And then, like Chris talked about, phase 2 was the remaining facilities, including this building and some of the other operations buildings, in addition to the schools listed here. I think all in all, the construction took probably a good 2 years to actually go through. If you think about the amount of sheer square footage that y'all maintain and operate here as a district, you are one of the very largest districts in the state, really one of the very largest districts in the southeast. And so to be able to do this sort of monumental program, it is a kudos to you for sure. A couple photos that we have here, you can see some of the upgraded HVAC and some of the upgraded classroom HVAC units there, the gymnasium lighting, I'm sure you guys have seen, some of the duct work and outside air systems. You can also see some of the automation systems. That bottom center picture is down in the operations building there, where they have the ability to pull up any school, any time, any classroom, and look into how that building is operating, what the temperature is. They can come in before the teachers and kids get there, and they can understand where they may have issues that day, where they may need to do repair and service calls before they're having to wait for people to come in and be uncomfortable. In addition to that, they have the ability to dial into what we call our resource advisor program, and they can look at any school down to any meter, and they can tell on a month-to-month basis as the utility bills come in. We update everything to see how are you doing, how are you tracking, how are you comparing maybe to 2013, 2014, 2015. It helps us troubleshoot and understand where can we do better? Where have we done well? What are some best practices we can pull from there? So it's a very powerful program that John and Corey use all the time to help kind of understand and explain things. Additionally, you can see some of the new hallway lighting, classroom lighting. You get enhanced airflow from the HVAC units when you take out the old existing systems. There's a lot of just existing design issues that happen with older schools, and this is new technology called variable refrigerant flow technology that Kerry and his team are a big fan of. And y'all have kind of become the poster child for the state as far as that technology. And I know you have districts from all over, not just Alabama, but Tennessee and other places that come and visit and take a look at that technology. And you can tell that auditorium lighting and different things that we were able to improve here. So talk a little bit about our value partnership, a couple key things that Corey and John do. They're responsible for client staff training. So as you guys have new employees that come on or turnover in the operations staff, they help them come up to speed and make sure that they can operate things and do them effectively. They do system optimization of the entire system, I believe once a quarter. Get everything kind of set back to where it needs to be. That way things don't get out of whack and you guys can be sure that you're operating as you should. Any warranty assistance and things that may break, they're there to help you interface with the various manufacturers that can troubleshoot issues both on-site and remotely. I think the monthly operating reports is something that's really important to the district because we can go through that system and we can tell you where you're operating very well. We can tell you where there may be opportunities for improvement. We can tell you, areas that may have run way over where they need to run, and you can kind of target those in the next month to be more effective. Of course, they're responsible for the savings and measurements, verification reports, and site visits, their support. And then, of course, as you guys get new projects, we love to consult with our clients on new construction, renovations. We want to make sure that y'all are building it right the first time and doing it in the most effective and efficient manner. And then, as we have our partnership go, we offer full marketing and PR services for the program. We can help you brand it, we can help with social media, and then we're also going into trying to tie our programs into curriculum and STEM options and enhancement, and that's something that we're working on rolling out here over the course of the next few months. We're pretty excited about that as well. So a little bit about the savings of where we're currently going. If you remember, this program has kind of taken off and just gotten into the phase where we're up to what we call full performance. And so you can see the black line is where we would like to be at, and the green line is where we are at on a month-to-month variance. You can see the green line is now just cresting over the black line, and as we continue to go through this partnership on a month-to-month basis, we're essentially looking for a good $100,000+ in cost reductions from your original baseline. All of that is directly tracked from your meters and then compared back to your baseline. And that's what John and Corey's group and their responsibility is in reporting back to the finance office and making sure we hit things as we say we will. Total cumulative savings, this will include both construction as well as what we're doing today. You can see construction started right around here, and you can see that it actually took place all the way until this black line when it starts. The black line represents when our performance period started, when we were tracking, measuring, and guaranteeing all the performance. And so you can see up here your annual guarantee, 1.264 million. Your guarantee through April 27 was 654,000, and you obviously have built quite a cushion of savings throughout installation. And of course, that started immediately once you implement a more efficient light bulb, once you implement a more efficient piece of HVAC unit, it is going to immediately start reducing your utilities. And this kind of gives you an idea that through April of 2017, you would save almost $3.1 million back to what your baseline was when we originally started. If you look at this is kind of our real test of where we're going, and we just kind of had the announcement internally that we did this recently. We do a 12-month rolling average of where where your savings performance is going. And see, you can see right when you start construction, it's very, it's very minimal. The last 12 months, you didn't save much, but as we continue to start implementing things, you can see the 12-month rolling average continuing to increase because we're commissioning things, we're getting things running correctly. And so as of April of 2017, we are now above your annual savings on a 12-month rolling average. And we want to continue to see this line increase. And eventually it will probably plateau once we hit a peak optimal performance until we, implement more new technologies or things that can help you become more effective in your savings measures. But I know it's a big win for our team when we hit our 12-month rolling average, because that means we finally reached the point of where the system is operating at the performance levels that we designed it to, and everything from now on is just what we can increase and help you guys save additionally on top of that. As long as we maintain that level, we will be backing what our guarantee is to the customer. So just to kind of finish on next steps, we're continuing the monitoring, the training, the involvement, the site visits, and we want to not only achieve but exceed your savings goals. That's a personal mission of ours, is to deliver more savings back to the district than what we promised in the front end. And of course, if there ever is a blip in the radar, we want to be there financially for you. But we want to exceed that on a regular basis. We want to continue to use y'all as a reference and an innovative leader in technology and operational efficiency. I know that you've been featured in some industry write-ups. You've been featured in some articles, and some press releases, and y'all are definitely looked at as a leader in efficiency across the state. I think anybody that is in the K-12 construction world looks at Madison County Schools as a very, very innovative thought leader in this area, so you can be proud of that for sure. Of course, we'll always be involved here, but we'd love to come to future meetings and provide updates on performance and work on a long-term partnership, possibly some marketing opportunities, possibly some curriculum or STEM scopes opportunities, or things that we would like to partner with in the future. And then, of course, any future construction work, we'd love to be here as a consulting resource. So, what questions do you have?
You started out at $2 a square foot. What would you say we're at now?
But I know that we had a 40% reduction, so we're probably right around that $1.20 mark if we had to kind of put a number on it, which would be considered a good, efficient district, especially one with your level of technology. You do have a lot of powerful, because you have made a large investment in technology, so that does use a lot of energy, for sure.
Carrie, we weren't able to touch any of the outbuildings like, athletic facilities and stuff like that. I mean, we weren't able to do any of that.
No, sir. We didn't. The only thing we did all exterior lighting.
Yeah.
Parking lots, but no outbuildings, no athletic buildings.
Is that something we could consider for the future if we, ever get to that point where we could?
Yeah, there's a lot to tackle in there because they're all paid independently by the schools and by different clubs. So getting the contracts, getting them set up, getting their savings rolled. What we've done here is just one, under Karen, it's just one contract and one system.
Right.
I know you saw in there, but I think one of the greatest things is the gymnasiums. Y'all remember the old halide, yellow lights, and somebody bumps into it, and everybody sits in the dark while they warm back up during a ball game?
Yeah.
Well,
And there.
yeah, that doesn't happen anymore, and they're bright, and they're white, they're super cheap, and, they've been great, and I can't talk enough about we tried to change out one of the school, actually Buckhorn High School gym went to Troy. I think we tried to do it ourselves first.
Hazel Green High School.
Hazel Green High. Troy's, he's on it. Hazel Green High School, we tried to do it ourselves through TVA has it says come in and we'll pay you to replace your lights and your energy savings and stuff. And it's a nightmare. You've got to not only be a grant writer, you need to be a part-time lawyer and a part-time engineer and part-time everything. But thank you. Comes in and we got 500,000. Was it 500,000?
TVA rebate.
TVA rebate. And that's because there was not just doing the technical side, but also the paper side, which is fantastic. You did a great
So
job.
close to another half, they canceled the program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About a week too early.
But that's been a real big, the gymnasiums have been really impressive for us. And as Troy will tell you, we love our exterior lighting. We get calls, I say we, that's because I work for Troy. We get calls and then say, half your lights are burning at Sparkman High School at 2 in the morning or 10 o'clock at night. Well, campus is so large, they might be on different timers, and one comes on 3 minutes later or 5 minutes early, and they drop off. And so we were always getting these phone calls, but things are a lot better now because we operate under one system and one software. So we're on and then we're off countywide.
Yeah, y'all can feel really good as a school board that there's not much waste within your schools in regards to whether it's energy, electricity, natural gas, or water. When the schools need to be operating, they're operating, and they're operating efficiently. But when it's a night or a weekend or a holiday, turn it off because you don't need to run the facility. And I think that's one of the biggest things that districts struggle with, was that in many facilities as you have, as much square footage as you have, it's almost impossible to keep a handle on all of that. So y'all can feel pretty good that there's not a lot of waste going on in facilities.
The challenges were greater with the older schools, right? With getting, for it to be constant temperature. You know, I represent most of the older schools. But I don't hear as much, whether they've just gotten used to it or if it's fixed, is it fixed?
There's always challenges working with older schools, and if every school is exactly the same, I think all of our lives would be a lot easier. So when we do implement programs, you have to kind of prepare for the unexpected. There are going to be certain wings that are going to be hot. There's going to be certain wings that are going to be cold. And going to be, some schools have full walls of windows where they get a tremendous amount of sunlight. And so as we implement these programs, a lot of tweaks have to be made over time. And that's why when y'all saw on our 12-month rolling average chart, where we're kind of figuring it out and we get it tweaked to that level. So it's the older schools, I'd say a lot of the comfort issues are fixed. But it took time for us to understand how the schools run, what the complaints were, what the issues are. And I think another thing is any time that, you're turning a building off and it used to run all the time, people are going to feel like control is, it's not there anymore. But we've been pretty good about putting in systematic overrides where if anybody has to come in after hours, they can still turn their individual areas on. But that takes a little bit of getting used to, for sure. So we appreciate the patience.
And this school year in August, starting in early August, like we do with kids coming back, it was hotter in August than it is in September, so that's always kind of burning more there too, the earlier our calendars kind of moved up. But we allowed the first few weeks this past school year to actually teachers to lower past what was kind of the standard threshold to kind of get an extra couple of degrees to kind of cool that off. So
That was just a political move on his part. He announced it at Institute.
it did get the biggest applause, didn't it, of everything.
Bigger than the Chromebooks.
That's right. But it was, that first, my first start of the school year, we were chasing hot rooms all over, and it, it cost a little bit of money, but I think it helps the attitude of everybody. But being able to just control the units and that Troy can do from room to room.
Is that a 4-week period?
I think it was 1 month.
It was actually a 6-week. It was
6 weeks.
planned to be 4 weeks, and then we got extended to 6 weeks.
Is that the plan for this year?
We're working on a lot of plans. Troy's done a great job this year. It's the little things where out of school we had a little bit of a wind tunnel because the car riders and the bus riders are opposite corners on the same hallway, and he was just sucking everybody out of that hallway. And Troy went in and adjusted some classrooms, and so we've made a lot. We made a lot of adjustments this year, and I think they're going to be a lot happier than they were the year before. It just takes a while to figure out every classroom, and so we're real close to. We didn't have how many complaints do you think we had this spring, Troy?
Not much at all.
Yeah, it, like Matt said, the first year I ought to put it up probably around 1,000. Well, no, we got more teachers than that, probably around 2,000. But it really has. It's done well, and we'll do what it takes to make them comfortable and to make sure everything works well.
Yeah, that's important. Is we don't ever want to be viewed as a company that's not allowing comfortable teaching spaces for the kids. But our goal is to try and be as financially responsible as possible. There's a balance there. We just have to kind of find that balance. And I know that every time we work with a large district like y'all, it's not uncommon, especially a county district where there's so much distance between the schools, because not only are you dealing with troubleshooting a problem, but it may be 20 miles from the other problem that you're at. So there's a lot of chasing rabbit holes and different things. But I feel like as a team, we've really come around and tried to remedy a lot of the questions that come up.
You guys will be at AASB.
We will. We have a booth at the school board conference, so I'll be down there, and we'll have a couple of our folks down there. We'll also be at the superintendent's conference. We were at the planning manager's conference, and I told Karen we re-upped for our school business officials conference as well. So we are so very thankful for all of our K-12 partners. Like I said, I think we've worked with about 30 of the systems in the state now. Many of your brothers and sisters out there that are school board members dealing with the same issues that y'all deal with are also partners of ours, and would love to talk with y'all at the conference. So we'll be there, and I just do want to say thank you to everyone here. Troy, you've been amazing with these guys. Joe, absolutely. Carrie, couldn't say enough about you. Carrie and I actually just met on an off lunch at the school plant managers conference, and it just goes to show you the value of those conferences. And it's all kind of came together. And Karen, you've been amazing on the financial side. And Mr. Massey, I know you've been through, both sides of the coin, and we appreciate your support and everything y'all done. And then finally, the board, anytime you ever have any questions or concerns or issues or, high fives, we'd love to have them. Just say thanks. But it really is a pleasure working with y'all. So, anything else you can think of that?
Just give us a little snapshot about what you're thinking to do with the STEM segment.
Yeah, it's a good question. So we were approached by one of the top firms in the U.S. that does a lot of the STEM curriculum, STEM programs, different things. I said, man, y'all do a lot of work with school systems, and what you do is very involved in engineering, math, technology realm, and your projects really could help bring some of our STEM curriculum to life. Maybe the kids could learn more about the STEM curriculum through examples within your programs, or your programs could even create curriculum and learning labs or learning environments around them. So what we're tinkering with the idea of doing is having that partnership and taking it to all of our clients to see if there is interest in expanding your STEM programs and talking about learning both on the applicable and practical side of what is real life, and allowing you to see that, hey, there is careers in this, and there is, building sciences is a very, very, very hot degree and major and area that, a lot of kids should be interested in. And so we're working through that. We've got some meetings set up at the summer conference that we're going to be having some discussions. I know we formally agreed to it, but we're going to be rolling it out hopefully to some partners soon, and I can give you some pretty tangible examples of what we might be able to do for you all, because I think it could be really applicable for sure. So.
In your work, was it like 50-50 lighting, HVAC, or was it weighted one way or the other?
A lot of it was automation, but yes, I would say we got probably a good third of the lighting, a third of automation, 20% mechanical, and then we had a water scope. We also had an IT scope. So yeah, it was a fairly even split. But I mean, as a district, you can know that your lighting systems, your automation systems, and a good majority of your HVAC systems have been addressed. I know you've still got a list that needs to be tackled, but we tried to tackle as much as we could. That's a good question.
And they're all working with automation on the first floor Hedge Green that we're doing this summer. And so it'll be up and running on that same system when it's operational, which will be before school.
All right. Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
If we have more questions, we
Thank you.
we'll flag you down.
All right.
At the conference.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, for administrative items, I recommend the approval for the financial statements or payments of bills and cash reports for April 2017.
Motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, if not, we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All in favor.
All right, I recommend approval of the fiscal year 2017 final budget amendment.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the final budget amendment?
I do. When do we know when we're going to get the federal funds?
We don't know. I mean, I don't know. I have no connection.
I know you don't. I'm just was, typically when do we
go
normally
in
see it?
June.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Typically, but sometimes, usually, we have a preliminary by now for Title I, Title II.
And we have nothing. We've not seen
No,
anything.
sir. I mean, we could get it this week. Usually it's toward the end of the week when we
Friday.
come down from the State Department. That's right. And I just forward it on as soon as I receive it. But I haven't heard anything. But we're hopeful that we'll receive it this month, which is normally, it's June.
It makes it tough to plan.
It
Yeah,
really
it
does.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
We did receive our state allocations last week, so.
So we did get the
That's
state.
good, something,
Yes, sir.
right?
Okay.
Yes, we will
Mr.
be
Wise, I
getting-
will say that Dr. Jensen and her staff will work with all of our schools to have multiple budget scenarios.
Just in
So
case.
They've got a scenario that will work. It's just figuring out what that allocation is going to be so they know which one to go with. So, I mean, they know what their plans, they know what their options are.
Right.
So.
Right.
She works actually plan A, B, C, honestly.
That's fine.
And
Yours. Thanks.
Any other discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, all in favor.
All right, I recommend approval of the 2018-19 school calendar. This calendar has, we had discussion last time there, and we can discuss some more, but it has Good Friday as a
Weather day.
weather day for students.
Sherry wasn't here for that work session discussion.
Yeah. Well, we basically gave up a day of instruction.
No.
No, we,
Added it.
we
Well, you added at the
motion
end,
second
but
to
not much
discuss it.
happens at the end.
Yeah, do we need a motion and a second?
I know, motion.
We need a second.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All right, so now we can discuss, go right ahead.
So from the previous calendar presented, we added the last week in May, Monday and Tuesday were the last 2 days. And so we went ahead and made that 19th of April, that Good Friday weather day, and just added the day for students in May on Wednesday. So that's the last day of graduation, that'll be the last day for students. Teachers have one more work day on the 23rd after that. So we didn't lose an instructional day, we just added the day in May.
But when you put it at the end of the year, you really kind of do, because there's not a lot of instruction going on that last week.
Well, there should be, and, so it's. that's
Based on
something
my
that-
experience, there's not.
That is exam times for high schools, and there's end-of-year things, I think. This year there were 4 days on that last week for student days, is that right? And so in next year's the same thing, last week there's 4 student days. So this would be 3 student days. Now, we were the only system to have school on Good Friday this year. Next year, Good Friday's during our spring break, so we won't be, that's taken care of. So it really is up to you guys. If y'all, discussion was, do we want to add a Good Friday day in there, and we just decided to carry it over.
A good weather day. A good weather day.
A good Friday weather day, that's correct.
Do we have more, just the right amount, or how do we stack up against what we're supposed to have in terms of instruction?
So the state used to mandate 180 school days a year. They changed it to an hourly, a total hours component of 1,080 hours. So with that, it's given systems some flexibility on that. So teachers are on contract for 187 days. So what the system used to do when I came in my first year, we had 4 half-day PD days. And those half-days kind of weren't, that was a tough to organize PD, and half-day for students made it inconvenient. So instead of that, we had 2 PD days, and our calendars for students went from 180 class days to 178. So we have 178 student days. But there are some systems in Alabama that even have 172 student days. I think with our hours, we could even go to 173.
Yeah, 2173, 175 is kind of.
Yeah, I mean, so
So we've got some leeway.
we've got, and so the anticipation of needing that weather day, we still have a couple days technically that if we wouldn't need to make up until after you get below that threshold of the hours, because our hourly days for students is, the length of it allows us to have some extra room there.
Of course, we use up some of those hours, or do we use up some if we have to go half a day for weather? Do you lose it?
Y-
I didn't think so, if you release early.
Usually, if it's a state of emergency declared, you don't have to make those up.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, if we go and kids eat lunch, we count that as a full day on that. I mean, it's never been close for us on having to kind of scratch it out. So it hasn't really been an issue of having to defend that.
We all know what happens in the winter around here. It usually becomes a state of emergency.
It was. What we'd like to do in the future, honestly, is with kind of where we are with Canvas and our learning management system, is if we do have to have those, is actually make those days an e-learning day. We've experimented that a little bit the last 2 school years, and now that teachers are kind of becoming more comfortable with that, it's almost kind of having emergency kind of lesson plans where if students can't come in, we can still do some learning there too. So we want to take advantage of that instruction days in case there's 4 days in a row where you don't have school. We can actually have some things going on there. So we want to have the capability to be able to do that. We're pretty close to having that.
And I'd just like to say that Sherry's right. There is a perception that nothing happens before Christmas and before you get out of school. But that is not what we want to portray as a system, in my opinion. Every day at school is important. And, there's no reason, there's so much accountability, there's no reason that you can't use those last days to do all those things that you didn't get to use before the testing. I just think that's something as a system that we need to work toward. Every day is important. There's just not a day that should be anything but a day of instruction in Madison County Schools.
Yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about that in our Summer Leadership Academy. On the calendar, it's actually listed as a student instructional day. So that's the intent that you guys have. It costs about $400,000 a day to run our school system, and we want to make good use of those taxpayer dollars and make sure those days are productive. So I agree.
Any other discussion? All right. We have the motion, the second. We'll vote on the calendar for 2018, 2019, so everybody can plan your vacations. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. All in favor?
All right. I recommend approval of the EduLink as our software provider for our notification system.
Motion. Second.
All right, we have 2 motions and 2 seconds, and all is well. We can move right on. Okay, any discussion on the EduLink?
I listened to the one I missed. I think I'm up to date on that.
Okay.
Okay. If there's no discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All in favor?
All right. I recommend approval of Synovia Solutions as our software provider for our GPS electronic timekeeping.
Motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I have one question on this one. I know it's supposed to, record what's happening and that. So are you going to keep records for a certain length of time, or so you don't catch something real time? How do you?
No, this is basically a forever capture.
Okay.
Unless we determine that after 2 years, we let the data go. It's a real-time, forever capture, doesn't record over, doesn't do anything. And it's all cloud-based, so it's not a storage problem for our folks.
Any other discussion? Not, we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All in favor.
Okay. The next recommendation will be for the 2017-18 salary schedule. That begins July 1. And I do want to point out from the presentation at our last work session that in your folder here, page 17, we're going to keep the same that was in the 2016-17 salary schedule. We talked about some differences there, but this recommendation has page 17 is remaining the same. That's different from what was presented last board work session.
Remind us of what the changes were between what was presented and what's staying.
It's based on advice from council of that what would not to change the items on that page.
Okay.
Where you were paying a flat rate or something.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? Sherry?
I had a question, and it really, I don't think it got discussed last time, but when you look at the elementary setup, it says bookkeeper/secretary, and then I think the other person is clerical. And so my question is, if you compare the clerical elementary person to the secretary middle school person, how do their tasks compare? And have we really got people titled correctly and paid correctly in those capacities?
Mark or Ken, which one do you want
No.
to start with this?
I believe what Ms. Rucker is referring to is that we have local school bookkeepers in our K-8s, our 6-8s, and our 9-12s. And then we have local school secretaries in our K-8s, our 6-8s, our 7-8s, our 9-12s, and our PACE Academy. But when you're looking at our elementaries, they're local school secretary bookkeepers. And I think what she's referring to is that they're, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Rucker, but you're saying that there should be a school secretary and a school bookkeeper at each of our facilities, being elementary through high school, that they should each have a defined role for each of those two positions. Is that correct?
The bookkeeper, is it true that the bookkeeper is truly the bookkeeper and that maybe the clerical person is truly the secretary, but we just don't title them that way?
Well, in our elementaries, they don't have a bookkeeper because they don't have a sole person that's just there. Or
They
I'm
do.
sorry.
They have a bookkeeper,
Yeah.
but they also do secretarial duties.
They do
don't
so it's
have all
a
the
combo.
curricular
The booster
activities,
stuff, yeah.
things of that nature.
So the
clerical
bookkeeper
person-
isn't pretty much just the bookkeeper?
They are primarily the bookkeeper, however, they will have some secretarial duties as well in an elementary school.
And they do attendance.
They seem to have, their workload some way differ, especially our larger elementary. But I think it was set up on the basis that their workload was not as demanding as your middle high schools, and it was set up that way. The
So I guess-
clerical position is more a clerical position in all schools with the same job description.
And I guess our question, and I'm looking on the outside looking in,
Mhm.
is that if you really go and find out what these people do, is that really true? It doesn't appear to be from the outside
In
looking
other words,
in.
is there
It
duties-
appears that we really have a bookkeeper and we have a secretary, but the secretary is called clerical. I could have it wrong, but
We
I
have
don't know.
clerical in all grade clusters, from elementary, middle, and high school.
What's the difference?
Okay, that front office person seems to carry a load to me. I don't know.
Yeah,
They do.
They do.
Yeah.
They do,
Okay.
in every
It's a-
school. They absolutely do.
Okay, so the clerical at the elementary school and the clerical at the middle school, you think they're truly the same kind of position?
Their job description's the same.
practice.
guess-
It's going to be different based on definitely the school size, the number of students. But as far as a clerical aide, their job description is the same K through 12 as far as their responsibilities, but it will differ from school to school and from not cluster, grade level.
And maybe, and I'm trying to follow along, Ms. Rucker, so let me know if I'm off track here. When you're looking at a middle school or a high school, there's solely a secretary that handles the key administrative tasks, and there's a clerical that helps them. Where what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that basically what you're seeing from the outside is that the clerical aide in elementary school is really functioning as the school secretary.
It appears that way.
And the bookkeeper isn't really functioning as a secretary bookkeeper, they're solely a bookkeeper. So I guess, are you asking for us to look into
Just make
that
sure,
option of correcting, or looking at what that would be cost-wise, or?
Division of labor, I think.
Just trying to clarify the duties, I mean, make sure that the duties and the description match, okay? Make sure that who's doing what, I guess, because it looks like the clerical person's really more of an we changed some other titles from secretary to administrative assistant. To me, it appears they're administrative assistant, the person in the front office. And so, should we look into it, consider it, make sure we've got descriptions right, and make sure we have pay scales right for these people? And I guess that would fall to your department.
Well, again, Ms. O'Bannon and I can sit down and look at it and see what we're looking at is. And if I'm trying to follow you correctly, and please correct me wrong, what we'd be kind of looking at is that we would ensure that each school had a school secretary, a school bookkeeper, so that their roles are clearly defined. And then clerical would be to assist the secretary however was needed for that school, for that size, and for whatever. Am I on the right track?
And maybe consider it being changed to administrative assistant, consistent with the other changes.
Even the local school secretaries, because they're not really just,
Nobody is sitting there typing letters.
They're not.
I mean,
they're helping facilitate the operations of the school. Yeah, we actually discussed changing all of those. And we were wondering of how confusing that would be kind of for our local schools. So the precedent that we're setting with the ones that we're changing from secretary administrative assistant, I would be open to having that conversation with our local schools. They do everything. They're amazing, and they're the most valued, important people. And
they're the face of that school.
Well, and here again, two of my schools that I represent, that person, I call them the first line of defense. They're right there. They're doing everything. They're doing the registrar's work. They're answering the phone. They're doing everything, and they're not being compensated like other people. And, they're very loyal employees. So I would love for us to take a look at that, because, well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, ma'am. I think Ms. O'Bannon and I can sit down and discuss that and come up with some kind of a solution for it.
I know we made some changes with, the ones that have athletics and things, but they have a tremendous amount of responsibility.
Well, and we even have some local schools that use their own local school money. Nathan and I, we've talked at length about this because of just the pressures of that. It doesn't, there's no allocation from the state from this. They classify it under OCE, or the cost expenditures, but it really is just operating. That is where us having very little local funding really hurts, and it's in areas like this. And teachers, you're funded by the state-funded teacher units, but if there was an area where we could go through and give schools more support, we'd love to be able to give everybody, an extra person or those kind of things. But we have bookkeepers that are answering phones, and we got secretaries that are helping, and clerical. So it ends up being, we do have a lot of different titles for that. And I think kind of what you're saying, it's a little bit confusing to try to, it's hard to look at this and know this is what this person does. You know, we have, if you're, and that's on page 10, as I assume what you're looking at, Terry.
Well, I was still on 17, but, okay.
Well, it's on page 15 on the PDF.
It's on
It
10.
says page 10 on the document, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, we have 240-day registrars. For high school registrar, we have 240-day, 187. That's to try to give a little bit extra out there. So it's, so we try to, when we go through staffing, we've, you know, Karen and Ken, we try to work really hard to try to figure out what we can do to maximize and give the schools the support they need. When you have a larger school, you have a lot more checkouts, you have a lot more parents, you have a lot more phone calls. But we don't necessarily staff them by size of the population, so to speak. So it's not a perfect.
And it may not be where we can afford to fix it, but at least we should look at what we would like to do to fix it. I mean, and then determine if we really can fix it.
Any other discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the 2017-2018 salary schedule, please say aye.
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 All in favor?
All right. I recommend approval for the following contracts for services.
Motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All in favor?
I recommend approval of the following personnel items and the addendum as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. When did we get the addendum? Today?
It is in
This afternoon.
over there. Do you have a hard copy of it? Yes, there it is.
Okay, let me look at it real quick.
I had a question on the part of it that has like 126 people in the athletics. You
Mhm.
know that part of it? Are all those, are any of those the booster provided people, or is this just all what the system provides?
Yeah, these are all system.
Okay.
Is that correct, Tim? Mark?
Look through it. I looked through this, I don't see anything that appears to be off of our salary schedule. So I believe all these are supplemental, system.
System, okay.
I'm good. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 I
All
do
in
want to
favor.
point out
Whoops.
before we
Whoops.
move on,
What? What?
that, just to thank.
What about that?
Just about that, about the,
Oh,
what we
okay.
just, what you guys just voted on and approved. Did that
Okay,
pass, by the
sorry.
way?
It did, yes.
4-0. Just to thank Karen Jensen, she's not here this evening, but her retirement's on there, and she's put in over 40 years, heart and soul into our system, and as, to say a wealth of institutional knowledge is an understatement. She's considered a leader nationally in federal programs, and big shoes to fill. So I want to thank her for her service on that. So I just want to add that.
For sure. I just thought you were calling something up we'd already voted on. That'd be bad. All right. We have need for an executive session to discuss pending litigation. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into executive session. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and for the audience, when we return, there'll be nothing, no vote taken, just, we'll be ready to adjourn.